What's up, buckaroos? Today's lesson is very simple, but it's also really important and just completely and totally revolutionary. And if you're focused on it and you get the concept, when you go to create an internet business, you're going to set it up in a way that has a much higher chance to succeed. And that's the point of all this and everything that I teach. There's obviously a lot of people doing a lot of things that I wouldn't necessarily advocate. I talk all kinds of trash about blogging and podcasting, all these kinds of things, and there's all these successful people doing that. How dare I talk smack about something that obviously works? I'm not even a huge fan of just like going out and publishing a bunch of books and trying to make it as an author. I think that's a third of a business. It's incomplete. There's so much more to it. I spend more time talking to authors about stuff that doesn't pertain to books than I do actually talking to them about books. And so all I'm trying to do is help you guys set it up in a way that gives you a higher chance of success. And I can tell you, point blank, my first mentor that I had told me the same thing. He said, when I told him, he was making like 80,000 a month. And so he asked me like, "Hey, how much you making these days?" And I said, well, I'm only making about 3,000 a month. And he was floored by that, and he said, "Congratulations, man. Like, you did it. You arrived. It's harder to go from 0 to 3,000 a month than it is to go from 3,000 a month to 30,000 a month." And so, I kind of take that with me today, and I consider this, I call the $100 a day, I call it the golden point. It's the point where once you reach it, you're pretty much golden. Now, I know $100 a day for some of you may not be enough to where you feel like that's job replacement income. I kind of select that because that is almost precisely the average wage of someone living in the United States. Average wage is, $33,000 or something a year, as of the last time I looked it up. And so that's almost $100 a day. And so $100 a day to me is an important benchmark. And this benchmark and this first benchmark of getting to $100 a day is the hardest one you'll ever achieve. Once you get here, it's so much easier from that point forward. Most people just never get here, period. And so I try to do everything in my power to help people achieve this nearly impossible hurdle of getting to this point. Okay? And what's most helpful in that, more than anything else, and what matters so much, is how much money you're making per site visitor. Okay? So if you're wanting to make $100 a day, you could have 1,000 visitors. Let's say 10,000 visitors a day times 1 cent. If you're making a penny per visitor, you need 10,000 a day. If you're making 10 cents, you need 1,000 visitors a day, right? A lot of blogs and people who are making money off of advertising and stuff like that, they're in this 10 cent per view kind of range, right? Maybe a YouTuber is in the 1 cent, and then, as I evolved, my original website was about 10 cents per visitor. I got to add, a lot of products and audio, video, books for sale, consultations, all those things put together got me up to, more like 15 to 18 cents per site visitor. But then as I realized the folly on all of that, I started to really work towards increasing that. And so I started a site, Buck Books, and I was getting 50 cents per visitor. And so at 50 cents, you need, 200? 200 times 50 cents to make that $100 a day. It's getting easier and easier, right? And then my best site that I've ever done is one that I just started recently. I'm making about $10 per site visitor, actually a little bit more. And I'll probably be able to improve upon that as I make some slight adjustments and I test some things out. But at making $10, I just need 10 visitors at $10, right, to get that $100 a day. One of the best sites that I know of, a friend of mine, a guy I work with, helped him get his start online, Ari Witten. He was doing about $25 per site visitor. Oh, no, that's $25 per subscriber. I think he was at about 12, right? So At 12, that's only 9 visitors, eight visitors and change. So 12 times 8 visitors, right? But what I can tell, and I did that backwards. I'll go ahead and erase that. But you're getting the point that I'm making here, right? I think one of the hardest things that people struggle with early on is how to get traffic. And everybody's really fixated on how do you get traffic, how do you drive more traffic, marketing, marketing, marketing. And really they should be focused on setting up their site in a way that achieves better numbers to where they're not dependent on getting so many visitors, right? If you get 10 visitors per day to your site and that's enough to make $100 a day, forget about it. There's no way you can screw that up, right? Because you can go out and buy traffic for cheaper than that. It's really easy. Affiliates, you can create an affiliate program that's very competitive, and affiliates will be tripping over themselves because affiliates are used to making about $1 a click. And anything that's where they're making more than $1 per click that they send over, they're going to be really happy. So, anything below that, if I'm making 50 cents per site visitor, I can't have a competitive affiliate program. And that's ultimately the folly in my site, Buck Books, and why I stopped working on it and worked on starting other things that got more money, because its growth was limited by the fact that it was only getting 50 cents per site visitor, right? And so my progression and my evolution has been towards creating sites that get more and more money per site visitor. It's so important. And once you create this and you only need to get 10 visitors a day to make $100 a day, anybody can get 10 visitors to a site, right? I started a site 6 days ago and I've already gotten more than 10 visitors a day, right? It's not impossible, and that was working on it 90 minutes a day or something, right? So it's easy to get 10 visitors a day. And the more money you make per site visitor, the easier it is to get traffic, because you can have an affiliate program, you can run ads, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, what I said in lesson 1, I said, the main theme was set your site up in a way where you're getting the most desired response out of your user. Either you get them to buy something right away, or you get them to subscribe, and then you get more familiar with them and let them get more familiar with you, and then you sell something, right? But it was a binary decision when they landed on your page, right? If you can create a site, whatever you want them to do, give them that option on a page and no other option. And you'll get your visitors to do that much more often than if they have a menu of options. I promise you that. And it's easier and simpler. There's less moving parts, fewer variables. If you have one main page and there's only one thing for sale or one thing you're trying to get them to do, it's so easy to test it and improve upon that. So make sure you're setting up a business that has the opportunity to get a lot of money per site visitor. 10 is a lot. I admit you have to be pretty good at what you do. You have to have a great offer in order to do that, okay? But be thinking about that. And that's another reason why I recommend having, you want to make sure that you have some kind of premium offer of some kind. It's really hard to get to $10 per site visitor if you only have a $10 product for sale. That means 100% of the people who come to your site have to buy that. If you price something at $100, then you need 10% of people to buy it. If you set it at $1,000, you only need 1% to buy it. If you set it at, if your product and service is $10,000, you need 0.1%. And I know people online who have products and services that go way up from there, right? That sounds crazy, but if you're going to work really hard for somebody, help them build a business, do something that's going to help them make more money, that stuff is really valuable. And so I really believe that one of the keys here is helping people make money somehow. A product or service that's designed to help a business make more money. They refer to that as B2B or business to business kind of offers. Now, I'm not saying you have to do that, but it's certainly an advantage. And I think it's an advantage because people are willing to spend more money when they're making an investment in something that can help them make more money. They don't look at it as wasted money. They look at it as an investment that's going to bring a positive return. And that's why, my advertising service, where we're helping people make money above and beyond what they're paying for the service, makes it so much easier to get that $10 per site visitor, right? And I think that's the real take home lesson I want you guys to get out of this, is that everybody thinks, oh, I want to do that as my business, right? And like somebody will come to me and be like, oh, I'm really interested in kombucha. How can I make a business out of it? And it's kind of like, like it's such a disadvantage to try to go out into the world and build a business on something like that. It's just really tough. So when you're thinking and you're developing a business idea, be thinking about something, keep it within certain boundaries, right? You want to think of a product or service that you can offer that can really substantially help somebody. And if you can help them actually make money, that's an added bonus, right? You want to make sure that you might have a cheap product, that's great, but you want to make sure that you have some kind of premium product as well, premium product or service. I kind of refer to it as Tesla engineering, right? What's interesting about Tesla is that they didn't go out there and try to make a mass market car. That wasn't step one. Step one was to make just a few hundred models of a really nice, extremely expensive car. And that was easy to sell. They didn't have to be famous they didn't have to be a household name. They just had to find a few hundred customers. And that was enough to get them going because it was, well over $100,000, the product that they were selling, right? If you have a product or service that's $1,000 and you want to make this $100 a day, you only need 3 customers a month. It's a lot easier to get 3 customers a month than it is to become famous and make a penny off of each one of the people that find you, okay? So that's the buck floggingism for the day. And, if you guys have any questions, just ask me in the comments. I'm always happy to answer questions and, brainstorm with you or whatever it may be. If you have an idea that works and it's you set it up correctly, it's your chances of success are just infinitely better than somebody who's setting their business up in a way that doesn't really make sense. So that's it. And I'll see you guys tomorrow in the next lesson.